You are listening to We Saw the Devil, an investigative and conversational true crime podcast that deep dives into fascinating criminal cases that are solved, unsolved, or ongoing. From America's Lori Vallow to Germany's Armin Meiwes, we examine and discuss the world's most shocking cases. If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to follow us online. Check us out at WeSawTheDevil.com and We Saw the Devil on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget, you can become part of the show by backing us on Patreon. Happy Friday, everyone. You are listening to We Saw the Devil. This is Robin, and I am here with a Lori Vallow update to get your weekend started off with. Not a whole lot of movement overall in the case, but there were some really interesting pieces this week, particularly with some chest cam footage and some legal moves as well. So we will just get into those and start talking about that. Let's just get some housekeeping out of the way. As always, you can find us at WeSawTheDevil.com and We Saw the Devil across all social media. Seriously, it's not that hard to find us if you look. If you're enjoying the show, liking the show, loving the show, and want to financially support and back it, you can do so at our Patreon, which is patreon.com/We Saw the Devil, where for as little as $3 a month, we basically send you cool things, t-shirts, stickers, true crime gifts, do shout outs on social media or in the show notes. So check us out there again, patreon.com/We Saw the Devil. And for all of you YouTube listeners who listen to us in our Lori Vallow stuff, we are actually also going to be adding a service there as well where you can support the show and get cool goodies, videos, and things of that nature. As always, if you are liking the show, please take just 1 second and make an epic titty slap on that subscribe button and leave that 5-star review. And we would sincerely appreciate it. First, I want to thank all of the listeners from our last episode, not you, anti-mask lady, but all of the other listeners who submitted cases, like hometown cases for us to cover in future episodes. We have gotten so much feedback. Again, thank you so much for the condolences and the kind words in the last video and the last episode that we've received. I'm still actually working through messages and emails from all of you. It is probably the kindest thing that's ever happened to me, to be honest. I sincerely appreciate that. And for those of you who have emailed potential cases for us to cover, I'm actually making a list of them and working my way through and seeing which ones will be feasible to cover in the future. So if I have not replied to you yet, I promise I will. And I can't wait to learn about cases that have impacted you. I mentioned it in the last one, but the Ayla Reynolds case in Maine. I lived in Maine for about 10 years, and that case really deeply impacted me because it's almost like the Lori Vallow case, right? Because there are some cases that just appear to be so cut and dry. You know someone is involved, so why isn't justice being served? In Lori Vallow's case, I truly believe it will be. In the Ayla Reynolds case, imagine a little girl going to her dad's house, and parents are separated, going to her dad's house. He has friends over. She's gone, disappeared. Her blood is in the house, but she's gone. And he's never faced any sort of criminal repercussions or consequences, anything, nothing. If you are interested in true crime, definitely check out the Ayla Reynolds case in Maine because that one's a doozy and it will make your blood boil. Definitely plan on covering that one too in the future, but I want to get through your lists first. And now the moment that everyone has been waiting for. So as everyone knows, we got a puppy last week. We got a German short-haired pointer puppy. You know, life has been kind of down the last few months. So I'm like, what better way to fill the void in my soul than getting a puppy? And it has. And he is quite possibly the cutest thing in the entire world. And if you follow me on Instagram, I'm at Robin_WSTD. You can follow along on his journey and the food that I cook constantly and random musings there on Instagram, on my personal Instagram. But he's adorable. But what I wanted to do is we put it out to you guys to help us name him. And a lot of you submitted names. And I'm here to report that one of you, I chose a name that one of you submitted. As we promised, the person whose name we selected will be getting a sticker. Ashley V. Casey, step on down. I have chosen your name. Ashley said, quote, in her comment on Facebook, Jupiter would be cute in general, but contextually speaking, quote, he was a god of light, a protector during defeat, and the giver of victory. And she followed up by saying, and he, the puppy, even has the big old spots like the planet. What an angel. I love retrofuturism. If you are not familiar with that, it's like in the 50s and 60s when they were imagining the future and what it would look like, the Jetsons, things like that. That type of style, art, the advertisements, vintage NASA ads. I am obsessed with all of that. You said Jupiter, and his name is Jupiter. So Ashley V. Casey, I'm going to hit you up after this episode airs and send you a sticker. Thank you all for helping us try to name our baby. So let's Lori Vallow it, guys. We have a couple things to cover here. So number one, let's talk about Annie Cushing for a moment. Annie Cushing has taken a little bit, it seems like a retirement from social media. She hasn't been quite as active as she once was. Annie Cushing has created a petition on change.org. It's titled Investigate Joseph Ryan's Death. Currently, 864 people at the time of this podcast has signed it. And that actually just went up 4 by 4 as I was reading that to you. Let me just read this. Now, with this, I'm also going to post a link to this petition in our YouTube and in our show notes because we signed it. And I really feel like everyone should sign it as well if you're not aware that she's doing this. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this. You can read it on your own if you choose, but we're going to go over it together, okay? Annie says, cult mom Lori Vallow's third husband, Joseph Ryan, was found dead in his Phoenix apartment April 3rd, 2018. His cause of death was ruled heart attack. However, only an external exam was performed on him, and he was in an advanced stage of decomposition, according to the police report. Photos obtained from the Phoenix police confirm this. Lori Vallow is in jail in Idaho awaiting trial and is also connected to 5 other deaths, not including Joseph's. One of these deaths was Joseph's 16-year-old daughter, Tylee Ryan. After being murdered, she was dismembered and her remains repeatedly burned in an effort to destroy evidence of her murder. There are lingering questions from the 121 photos taken the day Joseph was found, such as indicators that Joe was preparing for a trip with Tylee. There were girl gifts and travel accoutrements next to his suitcase, which was in the middle of his office. But Tylee said in April 2018 that she had not seen her dad in more than a year. Did his eagerness to see his daughter, who Lori Vallow went to great lengths to keep from her father, make him a target for foul play? Lori Vallow's brother had already assaulted Joseph in an attempt to murder him once. He also shot and killed Lori Vallow's 4th husband in 2019. Lori Vallow was also in possession of a box of photo albums from Joe's childhood, as well as a box of file folders, both of which reeked of decomposed flesh. She claims the Phoenix Police Department let her into his apartment and let her leave with a box of albums and his files. But why would the Phoenix Police Department allow a former spouse to have access to so much personal information? This petition calls on the Phoenix Police Department to perform a rigorous and transparent investigation into Joseph Ryan's death, including but not limited to cell phone records, GPS data, social media interactions, email records, and interviews of neighbors. Get on it, sign it now. I think it's very, very, very important that we all do this because, as it states, only an external investigation was done. It's been posted in multiple online groups or pages that Annie Cushing herself has uncovered some potential evidence in this case, in Joe Ryan's case. She's been looking into it herself. On Twitter, she said that she would be creating a Facebook group where she will be uploading all of these photographs for sleuths to pore over and examine. And then she wants to compile those insights and then send them to the Phoenix Police Department, which I think is absolutely incredible. I mean, this is like grassroots investigation here of web sleuthing. So let's all throw our support behind Annie Cushing's call for the Phoenix Police Department to actually investigate the death of Joseph Ryan. Let's talk now about body cam footage. Justin Lum dropped a trove of clips from body cam footage taken from Alex Cox's entire situation of him dying feces soaked on a toilet. I clipped out a couple pieces that I find particularly pertinent to this, and then we can just kind of discuss those together. The very first thing that jumped out to me is the mention of blowtorches. Let's listen to a clip of officers in Zulema Pastinas' home after they did a walkthrough. And let's listen to that starting now. Now, first of all, I'm going to be playing multiple clips in this episode of Police Cam. I actually removed, as a courtesy, thank you to listener feedback a couple months ago, where I used 911 calls. There were beeps and things like that apparently made some of you almost go deaf. That's not my intention. Hugs, not drugs, not physical assault. So I have tried to take out random beeps and things like that, but none of the voice, anything like that's been altered. So let's listen to that now.
Just from walking around the house, my assumption would be it's probably drug related. He has little blow torches down there, which probably
says no. It's just Cialis is the only thing that's down, but still
right.
We didn't see anything, but
right. But usually people don't have the blow torches for anything other than.
Quote, just from walking around the house, my assumption would be it's probably drug related because of the little blow torches down there. So we have blow torches, folks. We have blow torches. Another officer then replies and says, no, it's the Cialis is the only thing down there. We didn't see anything. And then he said something unintelligible. Then the original officer mentions that people don't usually have blow torches for anything other than ... basically insinuating drugs. Now, lest we not forget, Zulema herself has a history of arrest due to drug possession. On May 8th of 1997, she had 3 charges in Maricopa County and was found guilty. On August 25th of 1998, there were 2 additional charges, also in Maricopa County, and she was also found guilty. Alex Cox's toxicology report came back clean. And we all are aware that they went to Mexico and so on and so forth. So everyone's wondering what kind of drugs Alex or Zulema could have been involved in, and were these particular drugs utilized in either Alex committing suicide, harming himself, Tammy Daybell's death, or the death/murder of the children. So there are a couple theories that have been cooking and circulating online. The first one is, and that I see over and over and over and over and over again, is malachite. To my personal understanding, after hours of research, this is actually related to blowtorches. Lapidary involves the polishing and cutting of gemstones. And to my knowledge, this does not involve blowtorches and uses its own singular, personalized machine. The dust of malachite, if inhaled, is what can actually harm or potentially kill you. So for any of you rock hounds out there with alternate methods or information, please feel free to correct me in the comments below or social media. Reach out, email me if you know more about malachite poisoning. It is definitely a real thing. And all of the examples that I have heard of, one woman decided to polish malachite. She had rough malachite and she inhaled the dust and died. So everything that I've read says that it has to be in dust form and that you have to inhale it. I'm honestly not feeling the malachite theory in any capacity. I realize the type of people that we're dealing with, even in, one of the documents, they talked about gemstones and things like stones and healing properties and things of that nature. But I'm just not feeling the malachite theory, guys. If we're looking into poisons and things like that, my money is still on the tetrahydrozoline. Many cases now have come forward into the public view of where women or men or whoever get pissed at their spouse and they're like, I'm going to end you. And then they take Visine, drop into their drink, dead, gone. And 99% of the time, it's not actually picked up on a toxicology report. Now it is because it's more of a thing, but it has to be, particularly requested. And I'm saying that, for Tammy's sake, not for Alex's sake. And we'll get there on my reasoning why momentarily. Okay, so if it's not malachite, why else would they need blowtorches? Obviously, drugs. What kind of drugs utilize blowtorches as a means to ingest them? Crack cocaine, methamphetamine, a meth, which was in fact Zulema's drug of choice back in the day. She was busted for meth those several times. And then hash oil, or also known as dabs. As someone who lived in a state where cannabis is legal, don't you dare judge me, I find it incredibly unlikely that Zulema and Alex had a few little blowtorches for a dab rig. they would have found some sort of rig, most likely first of all, because when you're dealing with hash oil, or more popularly known as dabs, it's like a sticky, icky thing, and you have to put it into almost like a bong looking thing, has water, things like that, but you have to use a butane or blowtorch to light it. I very much doubt that Zulema and Alex had all of that set up. I don't know why, call me crazy, but I'm just not thinking that they had this fat dab rig in their basement. So meth or crack, I think, is far more likely. Even the police officers were like, yeah, none of this is used for anything other than drugs, guys. So we will see. In this clip also, the one officer mentions the Cialis. Don't forget, guys, that men with heart disease who take drugs known as nitrates can develop dangerously low blood pressure if they take Viagra or Cialis. Now, Alex Cox did apparently have kind of gnarly heart problems, so we can't take a natural death off of the table either, because, Occam's razor and whatnot, the most simple explanation is usually the most correct one. So what do you think about that portion, about there being blowtorches? I want to know all of your theories. Moving on, let's talk about the police interview of Zulema and Joseph, her son, at their home. First, an officer comes in and he talks to Zulema's son, asking him how he found him. And let's just listen to that. This is the police arrived on scene with the paramedics because Joseph called them after he found Alex. So let's listen to this clip.
How long ago did you find him? I found him here like 15 minutes ago.
About 15 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Okay, who found him?
My mother called me and she said go check on him.
Okay, so where was your mom at?
My mom was at work. She just barely got home.
Okay.
And she ran in and helped me with the CPR and stuff because I was having an anxiety attack. The person on the phone was trying to tell me to put the fingers in his mouth to remove the vomit.
Right.
CPR, but
Come on over here.
I couldn't do any of that. I'm sorry.
Okay, so who is he to you? Is he your dad?
No, that's my mom's boyfriend.
Your mom's boyfriend? Okay.
Yeah.
So...
But imagine it was just like real quick. My mom called me. She told me to go in there. He's on the floor. There's feces. There's vomit.
Okay.
And I was naked. And
No, I get it. You're fine, man. So, why did she... Had she not heard from him? What was the deal that she called you to go check on him?
I don't know if he called her or my mom called me. She said, go check on him. He's on the floor.
Okay, had she talked to him, or?
Okay.
And she told you he was on the floor?
Yeah, she said he was having some problems.
Okay. And so where were you at this point?
I was in my room.
You were in your room? Okay, that's in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so my immediate first takeaway personally was Joseph telling the officer why he went to check on Alex in the first place. Joseph very clearly states that Zulema called him and told him to check on Alex because he was, quote, on the floor. How? How did Zulema know that Alex was incapacitated and, again, quote, on the floor? I know that Zulema does some really weird shit with like her hugging therapy and all of these, preparing earthquakes and all of this kind of stuff. But to my knowledge, she does not have a chat line where she charges $1.99 per minute in order to tell the future or what someone is doing on the other side of the world. She, to my knowledge, does not have a certificate in remote viewing. The officer, you could tell that he felt like this was a little incredulous. He said, wait, hold up. She told you that he was on the floor?
And she told you he was on the floor?
Yeah, she said he was having some problems.
And I don't think that Joseph in that moment quite understood what he was doing. And he said, yes, she did. And also that he was having some problems. This alone is very incriminating because Zulema literally called her son and said, hey, Alex is on the floor. Go check on him. How would you know that? How would she know that? I mean, unless we're, calling me now for your free reading, I don't think that Zulema should have known that information. Now the blessings. Oh, this to me is just, I don't know. This piece to me is what makes me wonder. Everything else I can kind of rationalize and say, okay, well, he wasn't healthy. He liked burgers and fast food. He clearly had a little bit of a gut. He wasn't exactly shining epitome of health. So I can understand that Alex just, kind of died in a room filled with feces on the floor. So let's listen to this clip.
When was the last time you talked to him?
He was talking, I was at work, and he was talking to one of my friends on the phone because he said that he wasn't feeling well, so my friends said that they would give him a blessing. So they were giving him a blessing over the phone. And then my friends texted me and said, "You better get home now."
What makes me wonder, though, is that Zulema said that when the police officer asked when she last talked to him, she said that one of her friends called Alex, to give him a blessing over the phone. A blessing. We now know that the people on the other end of that phone, it was Chad and Lori. Shortly after that, Zulema says that her friends texted her to let her know that she needed to check on Alex. That's all the information that we've heard thus far publicly, right? That's been released. So this is, to me, the kink in the story. Why did Chad and Lori supposedly talk to Alex? He ends up dead. And then they texted or notified Zulema, who's like, go check on Alex, She never tells an officer that Chad and Lori said that Alex, on the phone dropped to the floor. We have no context and no information to that whatsoever. This is the piece to me that wonders about foul play in some way or suicide. Did they convince Alex to kill himself because they knew that he was pretty much the direct link to both of them? I mean, that's obviously allegedly, speculation because we don't know. But I wonder if Chad, because Chad was the big boy in this entire operation, if they somehow convinced Alex to commit suicide, kill himself via some manner in order to avoid potential evidence, or him testifying against him or whatever. Let's not forget that Alex followed Lori's every single whim. He, murdered/shot Charles Vallow to death. He tased Joseph Ryan, attempting to kill him. I mean, Alex has been, and don't forget, in the divorce, Charles Vallow and Joseph Ryan both said that Alex Cox was a complete danger and they were scared of him. And if they died, it would be at the hands of Alex Cox. So it's a mess, guys. And it's really, really weird. But that particular piece, the blessing on the phone of them having just spoken to Alex, is what really turns Alex's death into something more for me. Maybe hoping we will learn more about that. And I'm wondering what they have on Zulema. If Zulema's going to be a witness, what she has and what she has told. Hey guys, it's Robin. Do you like to relax after a hard day of work or a particularly long true crime binge? I know I do, and sometimes a puzzle is the only remedy. I'd like to tell you about Unidragon. Unidragon is a maker of fine wooden jigsaw puzzles. Each piece is laser cut from high quality plywood, so no more putting together puzzles with bent or frayed edges or designs that are peeling off. The designs are vibrant and colorful and come in a variety of animal themes. Each individual piece is actually the shape of another animal, and every puzzle is uniquely and artfully crafted differently. These are definitely frame-worthy and would make for a stunning gift for a friend or loved one. There are over a dozen gorgeous designs. I personally love both the owl and the panda. And we are so excited to offer our listeners a 10% discount code on your next purchase. Go to unidragon.com. Again, that's unidragon.com, and use the discount code DEVILSAW, DEVILSAW. Again, unidragon.com, and then use the discount code DEVILSAW. Upgrade your puzzle game by getting a Unidragon. I can't wait for this to go to court. And I'm actually slightly devastated at the court news that we got this week. Now, there's also another video where one officer states that one of their detectives is, quote, working on something involving Alex when they're at the home. And he's, one of our detectives is working on it. So, I'm assuming the shooting of Brandon Boudreaux, the shooting at, shall I say, of Brandon Boudreaux, but who knows? In another video clip, Alex has died. He's been pronounced dead. Zulema's at the hospital. Police officers are at her home with Zulema's daughter, Kara, and her son, Joseph. Now, Kara calls Zulema and hands the phone to the police officer, and it's on speakerphone. So we're going to play this call now.
Hey, here's somebody that they're coming to talk to us, like, thought you'd be on speaker so you can hear what they're going to say.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Mark Ward. I'm a sergeant with the Gilbert Police Department. Who am I speaking with?
You want to bring it in?
Yeah.
Zulema. What can I do for you, ma'am?
I'm just wondering, is it possible for you guys to wait outside? My kids are already going through enough trauma as it is without you guys standing right next to them. I have one of my children, all three of my children suffer of anxiety, and you guys are not going to making it any better right now.
Okay.
It's possible for you guys to wait outside, and then I just feel like why do you guys need a warrant for my house?
Okay. So we're definitely not trying to make things worse, ma'am. We're not trying to have anybody feel bad or be anxious, but someone died in your house today, and we're not going to leave your house until we finish that investigation. So, and we're going to secure it while we seek a search warrant from the judge. And if the judge grants it, then we'll conduct the search as necessary to finish the death investigation. If the judge doesn't, then we will leave. But for right now, we're going to stand by the house and control individuals' movements in the house. They're not required to stay here, so if they'd like to leave, they are free to leave. But we will not be leaving the house at this time.
Okay, let me ask you this. So, why are you saying that someone died in the house when he wasn't even pronounced dead until he was in the hospital?
Well, the incident started here. I get that he was pronounced deceased at the hospital, but all of that started here. It didn't start in the hospital. It started in this house. Okay? And like I said, we're not trying to traumatize anybody. We're not trying to push this. And okay, that you have your right to that opinion. I understand that, man. We have a job to do, and unfortunately, sometimes that ends up making people feel uncomfortable. That's not our intent, but we have our job to do. So that's kind of where we stand right now. And your children that are here are adults, and they're free to leave. We're not holding them here. So, but we are going to hold the house while we seek the search warrant. So, and they're not necessarily free to move around the house and just go do whatever they want. So, they can leave the house. They're free to leave that, but they're not free to wander around the house while we secure it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna get a hold of my lawyer and see if then he can maybe give you a guys call back.
Okay. I have no need to speak to your lawyer because it's not going to change anything. But you're more than welcome to give him a call. You have every right to.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
Alrighty, so looking past the obvious fact that it's really odd for anyone, much less Zulema, to be asking the police to leave because her adult children have anxiety. Like, can you imagine telling a police officer, you need to leave my house, my adult children have anxiety and panic attacks, and you're not making it any better for them? Secondly, she nitpicks and wonders why they are getting a search warrant when Alex didn't die at the home. Why are you searching the house when he was not pronounced dead until he was at the hospital? What? Like, she came off as completely and utterly sus and defensive by saying that. That would have raised more red flags for me than Moscow at a Soviet military parade. I just cannot fathom that police officer was like, what is this lady on? I mean, talk about drawing attention to yourself. Zulema, come on, honey. That was not the way to go. So that for me was a big red flag. Like, can you maybe not? And then at the end, she almost threatens, well, I'm going to get my lawyer. And I feel like that police officer did a huge service. You know, we frequently crap on the Gilbert police, the Phoenix police, and pretty much everyone there because the way that every single department has handled this has been just, and there's your mascot howling in the background. Go to bed, buddy. The way that each department has handled every single investigation, whether it's Charles Vallow's shooting death, you know, Alex Cox claimed it was self-defense. An armchair detective whose entire legal background is based on Criminal Minds and Law & Order SVU could determine that that investigation was not handled properly. I do feel, though, that big props have to be given to this officer for standing his ground, maintaining, being respectful to her, but saying, ma'am, we have a job to do and we are not leaving. And Zulema pretty much just like scampered away, like, well, I'm going to call my attorney. And he's like, you do that. You have the right. Thank you. Good day. Good day to you. Zulema was asking the officers to stay outside her home before she got there. Why? No, okay, granted, I'm very suspect of police as well. But you don't tell them, hey, can you maybe wait outside when someone dies at your home? Now, also, the police were aware that the detectives were working on Alex, that he was a suspect in something or involved in something really jacked. They found blowtorches in the basement, so they knew that that indicated drugs in some form or fashion. And then Zulema was acting suspect as hell. And then don't forget, the one officer already knew that Zulema called Joseph and told him, hey, Alex is on the floor. So they already have a pile of dominoes that are not making sense. Like, what does not belong? All of this shit that Zulema is saying does not belong. It's very, very suspect and weird. So for her to put the big cherry on top of, hey, can y'all kindly get the TF out of my house? At least until I get there. Certainly don't go in the basement or go through my things. I mean, that's how it cam off. So it was interesting to me, but Zulema sounded desperate and very suspect. In conclusion, with the chest cam footage, there is a 2-hour and 26-minute video on YouTube where you can listen to a lot of the audio from this day. Everything from, it starts from Zulema's house, a conversation with Joseph, and then ends in the hospital room where Alex is pronounced dead. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you guys and save hopefully some of you some time. Unless you're super, super, super into this case and just want to be able to kind of hear voices, there's not a lot of information, and 97% of the video is dead air. Just dead air waiting for clips and cams, like the audio, to turn on. So completely up to you, but there is an almost 3-hour video on YouTube where you can kind of hear all of this stuff combined. Alrighty, so let's talk about the court moves. On Tuesday of this week, they had another hearing. John Pryor, Chad Daybell's attorney, brought up a possible motion for severance of the joint cases. He actually may be asking for Chad's case to be severed from Lori's. So we may be seeing John Pryor file that in the very near future. It has not as of yet to our knowledge. And don't forget, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell's cases were officially combined on November 4th of last year. Rob Wood asked that the cases, hey, can we join the cases? Which makes perfect and total sense from the state side because it allows trials to run more efficiently, and that's just both time and money-wise. He said that he would be using the same set of evidence to prosecute both Chad and Lori, so it made sense, and Judge Boyce approved that. If Judge Boyce approves the severance, then we could once again see 2 separate individual trials, and I, for one, am all here for that. I'm here for the pageantry and the full lengthy trials. I want to ensure that each one of them gets charged with every single, count and charge that they can possibly be charged with. I, for one, would be kind of excited. What are you guys wondering about this? Why is Pryor, Chad's attorney, wanting to sever his case from Lori's? I mean, we can go pretty much one of 2 directions here. Either he's turning on Lori and being like, nope, I'm going to try to save myself here. Lori's pretty much one of the most hated women of America. I don't know about you, but I think at this juncture, she's rivaling Casey Anthony for most hated mom of all time. So maybe he just wants out. Or is he trying to save Lori? Chad to me doesn't seem much like a selfless giving guy. So I don't think so, but I have seen some people throw out the possibility that Chad's actually trying to protect Lori from deeper, more serious charges. I don't find that to be true myself. Also in this hearing on Tuesday, Mark Means, Vallow's attorney, and John Pryor asked for more time and also for the trial date to be delayed. They claim that they basically just have too much evidence. John Pryor said that he has a lot of evidence, that he needs dozens of pieces, that he needs to run by Wood and now Rachel Smith, the new attorney in the mix. And I mean, let's be honest, guys, Mark Means is working far above his actual pay grade and knowledge base. This would be if Like the janitor kind of became a neurosurgeon. And nothing against janitors whatsoever, but just that kind of level. He does not have the skill set or knowledge base to compete and be a defense attorney at this level. Not only is the national spotlight burning on him constantly, he is a small town attorney. Look at this missteps he's made on social media. He constantly bitches and groans and takes to Twitter or Instagram to do it. It's just not professional. Yeah, just not impressed with Mark Means, but yeah, I can imagine that you guys would like the court date to be delayed. I can see why. Also, I'm not against that too, because it just helps Rob Wood. Rob Wood did state that he's good with keeping the date as it is for July, but he did agree. All sides agreed, actually, and by that I mean the prosecution, the defense, and the judge all agreed to delay the date. They agreed on June 9th to hear the pretrial motions, which I also believe will include a change of venue motion. And if the date 6/9 is familiar to you, it's because it's 1 year to the day of JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan being discovered on Chad's property. Eerie, right? So that is the current state of the case. Still, we have no results from the children's autopsies, information on that. Nothing really, nothing new whatsoever. Tammy Daybell's autopsy results, I think, is probably at the top of what everyone's wondering about currently. When's that coming back? What are they going to say? I know that we're also waiting for those as well. But yeah, not much is happening. We had the Dateline episode last week that came out. I've seen a lot of complaints about that. Apparently a lot of disinformation on that episode, which is really, really, really sad and kind of upsetting to hear. What did you guys think of it? Did you watch it? I know there were a few pieces primarily related to Joseph Ryan's death, a lot of new pieces there, and a couple things from Tylee's childhood dealing with the courts. So, but what do you guys think? What are you doing to get you through the lull in the Lori Vallow case? Are you following a new case, watching a new series on television? What are you doing? So let us know. That's it for today's Lori Vallow update. I have 2 Patreon episodes coming out. One is going to be called The Scream from Bus 1170. That is the first episode that is coming out for our Winnipeg postcard. And that is going to be about Vince Lee, the gentleman who boarded the Greyhound bus and randomly attacked another passenger, and then 8 pieces of him. It is a terrifying and horrifically sad case. So that episode I actually just recorded, and that's going to be up for Patreon. And then we have a second one coming for you guys too. So stay tuned, patrons. Your episodes are also coming over the weekend. And then we'll have another episode for you guys on Monday. So that is it for today, guys. Again, if you're enjoying the show, please head over to whatever the podcast platform it is that you're listening on and titty slap that subscribe button. Thanks again and have a wonderful, safe weekend. Until next crime.